What if I told you that the thing holding you back in life is actually the thing that makes you powerful? And what if I told you that you can't see it, not because you're blind, but because you're too close to it? This video is for the INFJ who feels misunderstood, unheard, underused, underestimated, and yet still responsible for everyone else's well-being. If you've ever thought, nobody really knows me, I'm going to say something you might not like. Sometimes that's not because people don't understand you. Sometimes it's because you don't fully understand yourself. Here's the first thing INFJs don't understand about themselves. You are not nice, you are strategic. People look at your warmth and think you're gentle. They don't see the calculations running in the background. You scan a room and instantly understand who's in pain, who's lying, who's about to explode, and who needs to hear one specific sentence to not fall apart today. You don't do this because you're trying to be polite. You do this because your brain is wired to stabilize systems and prevent damage. You're not being nice. You are actively managing emotional risk in your environment. That's not softness. That's control. Here's the problem. Because you do this automatically, you don't view it as intelligence. You view it as how I am. And because you view it as just how I am, you don't respect it. And because you don't respect it, you let people treat it like free emotional labor. You talk people down from panic attacks. You de-escalate arguments that weren't even yours. You absorb emotional chaos like a lightning rod so everyone else can keep functioning. You quietly prevent disasters before they happen. And then you feel guilty for being tired. Listen carefully. What you're doing is advanced. It's not normal. Stop acting like it's nothing. INFJs also don't understand how intimidating they actually are. This sounds ridiculous, because most INFJs feel invisible. You assume you're the soft one, the listener, the one nobody takes seriously. But that's not how people experience you. People feel watched around you. They feel exposed. They feel like you can see past whatever story they're selling. And that makes them either deeply loyal to you, or weirdly defensive around you and they don't even know why. You've seen this. You've watched someone suddenly act cold toward you and you couldn't figure out what you did wrong. Here's what you did. You existed. Your presence alone forces truth to the surface, and not everybody likes seeing their own truth. You also don't understand why you attract broken people, manipulators, and emotional parasites. You assume it's because you're too kind, too compassionate, too forgiving. That's not the full story. You attract extremes because you make chaos feel safe. If someone is unstable, you make them feel anchored. If someone is manipulative, you make them feel understood. If someone is morally off, you make them feel seen without instantly judging them. You create an emotional environment people don't normally get. So of course they cling. You feel chosen. You feel needed. You think it's a sign that you're special, and yes, you are special, but that chosen feeling is also a trap. Some people don't actually want to become better. They just want to plug into you like a battery. Here's the part most INFJs don't want to admit. Sometimes you help people not because you're selfless, but because it lets you maintain control and predictability. If everyone around you is emotionally stable, then you can relax. If everyone is okay, then nothing explodes, nobody abandons you, nobody turns on you. So you make it your job to keep the peace. You call it kindness, but at a deeper level, it's also self-protection. You're not just saving them. You're building an environment where you feel safe existing. You don't usually see that motive in yourself, but it's there. Another thing INFJs don't fully understand is how intense their loyalty really is. When you choose someone, you don't just like them, you bind yourself to them. You start thinking in terms of us. You start forecasting their future and quietly planning how to protect it. You carry them in your mind long after they've forgotten you. But here's the strange part. You can also cut someone off in one move and never come back. People think INFJs are weak because you tolerate so much for so long. But they don't realize there is a point of no return. Once you cross that internal line, you're gone. Not angry. Not dramatic. Gone. And they call it cold, they call it heartless. What they don't understand is how many times you forgave them in silence before you finally decided they were no longer safe to love. And even you don't fully understand that switch. You'll shock yourself with how fast you can emotionally detach. One day you die for someone. The next day you feel nothing. And you confuse yourself. You start thinking, was I faking it before? Am I the manipulative one? No, you're not fake. You're not manipulative. What happened is your nervous system finally believed the truth your intuition already knew. INFJ intuition sees patterns long before the heart is ready to accept them. Your head knew. Your soul resisted. Your heart caught up. That moment hurts. But it's also where you get your power back. Here's something else INFJs don't understand about themselves. You misunderstand your anger. INFJs tell themselves, I don't really get angry like that, which is not true. You absolutely get angry. You just don't express anger the way most people do. You don't explode. You compress. You store. You absorb. You swallow it to keep the connection alive. And then you secretly rewrite the relationship in your head. So on the outside you're fine, but internally you've already stopped trusting the person. You've already pulled certain parts of yourself off the table. You've already decided, I will never tell you that part of me again. You think you're keeping the relationship alive, but what you're actually doing is quietly ending intimacy. You're slowly packing boxes in your mind. INFJs also don't understand why they're so tired all the time. You think there's something wrong with you. You think you're being dramatic. You think you're just sensitive. No, your mind never shuts off. You are constantly simulating conversations before they happen. You're predicting reactions. You're forecasting consequences. You're scanning tone changes. You're buffering other people's moods so they don't crash into each other. You're adjusting your own volume to match whatever keeps the situation most calm. Do you get how exhausting that is? Most people only manage their own emotions. You manage the emotional weather of entire rooms. And then you wonder why you go numb and disappear for 3 days. You don't understand that this retreat you do, going quiet, shutting off your phone, vanishing, is not laziness, and it's not you being antisocial, it's survival. When an INFJ disappears, it's because your system is overheated. You're not just tired. You're overexposed. You've let too many people touch the core of you without recharging. And here's where a lot of INFJs get confused. You think those disappearances mean you're too much for people, when actually it means people have been too much for you. There's a difference. You are not hard to love. You are easy to drain. Another blind spot. You don't always realize that you're intimidating because of your standards, not your attitude. You have this quiet, I know what this should be, energy. You know how honesty should look. You know how loyalty should look. You know how love should look. You hold an image of what right looks like, and you can't unsee it. So when someone is giving you less than what you know is possible, you feel disappointed in them, and you also feel disappointed in yourself for accepting it. You'll say, "It's fine, it's okay, I understand," but inside you feel this deep anger at your own self-betrayal. You don't even fully understand how much self-betrayal hurts you. Every time you tolerate what feels wrong to your spirit, you lose respect for yourself. That's why you suddenly wake up one day and say, "I can't do this anymore," and everyone around you is confused, because to them nothing happened. But to you, it's been happening every day. INFJs also don't understand how rare their pattern recognition is. You think everyone else sees what you see. They don't. You don't just notice behavior. You notice motive. You notice motive behind motive. You watch someone talk and in less than 10 seconds, you can sense. This is insecurity, this is ego, this is loneliness, this is control, this is fear of abandonment dressed up as confidence. You don't just hear words. You hear where the words were born. That is unreal. That is a high-level skill. But because you've been doing it since you were young, you assume it's normal. And because you assume it's normal, you assume that when someone hurts you, they knew exactly what they were doing. Be careful with that. Sometimes people are selfish on purpose. But sometimes they're just not capable of seeing what you see. You also don't understand that you speak in layers. INFJs rarely say something directly the first time. You test. You hint. You put down a soft truth and watch what the other person does with it. If they react with care, you open more. If they weaponize it, you shut down permanently. That's how you protect yourself. But here's the problem, because you speak in layers, you think other people are picking up those layers. Many of them are not. So when you say, "Yeah, I'm fine, I'm just tired," what you actually mean is, "I'm emotionally abandoned in this relationship, but I'm trying to see if you care enough to ask again." And when they don't, you feel unloved. You feel unseen. You feel like they failed you. And sometimes they did. But sometimes, they literally didn't understand that was a test. You're playing 3D chess in a world where most people are playing checkers and you keep blaming the checkers players for not using a queen. Another thing you don't always understand, you are more persuasive than you realize. People listen to you. People shape their decisions around your words. You say, "I don't want conflict," but the truth is, you can steer people quietly. You plant ideas that grow in them later. You can walk someone right up to a life decision and make them think they came to it on their own. You underestimate how powerful that is. And because you underestimate it, you also underestimate the responsibility that comes with it. When you're not emotionally okay, you can become manipulative without realizing it. Not in a cruel way, in a protective way. You will steer conversations away from truths that scare you. You will steer people away from choices that might pull them away from you. You'll say you're just being honest, but really you're managing the outcome so you don't feel abandoned. This is hard to admit, but it matters, because you can't heal what you refuse to acknowledge. INFJs also don't really understand how lonely they actually are, because you've taught yourself to call it independence. You say things like, "I don't need anyone, I prefer being alone, I just like my space," and yes, that's partly true. You do need solitude to reset. But sometimes, "I like my space," is actually, "I don't believe anyone will handle me with care long term, so I'm already bracing for disappointment." You tell yourself that isolation is a choice, but a lot of the time it's a defense. It hurts less to walk alone on purpose than to keep hoping someone will walk with you and keep watching them fall out of step. Here's maybe the biggest thing INFJs don't understand about themselves. You think your sensitivity is a weakness, but your sensitivity is literally your navigation system. You have a built-in alarm that tells you when something is spiritually wrong. You can feel wrongness before you have proof. You can feel this is not safe before you can explain why. And then you gaslight yourself. You say, I'm overthinking. I'm dramatic. I'm paranoid. I'm judging. No, that feeling is data. That feeling is what keeps you from walking into situations that will break you. The times in your life you got most hurt were usually the times you overruled your own warning because you wanted to give someone one more chance. So let's say this out loud. You are not here to be used. You are not here to be the emotional shock absorber for every unstable person that wanders into your orbit. You are not here to prove you're worthy by how much pain you can sit through without complaining. You're not here just to heal other people. You are here to become fully awake to what you are. The moment an INFJ starts understanding themselves instead of apologizing for themselves, everything changes. You stop calling yourself too sensitive and start calling yourself accurate. You stop calling yourself too intense and start calling yourself focused. You stop saying, I'm sorry I'm like this, and you start saying, I'm not available for environments that punish emotional intelligence. You stop pouring into connections that drain you and you start investing in the ones that refill you without you having to beg. Because here's the truth you need to claim: your empathy is not charity. Your loyalty is not automatic. Your insight is not free. Your peace is not public property. You are rare not because you're fragile, but because you are built with depth most people never touch in themselves. The point is not to hide it. The point is to stop handing that depth to people who haven't shown they can hold it.